In our baby nest, we have very, very high quality early education and care. We never call it childcare because of the connotations that it's just about care, it's not about education. It needs to be education with great care, because you need to have that loving, containing, holding staff who are very aware about attachment and attachment needs. And our staff have time to home visit every baby in the home, learn the rocking patterns of the baby, learn about how the baby is comforted, learn about all that stuff. Unless you can do that, we shouldn't be having these very little ones in our settings. If we can do that, then it's fine. We can do very good stuff with children from one in institutional care. So we set it up, high quality, teachers, educators, staff, all on learning journeys. Any member of staff tells me they've got what the qualifications they need for this job. They haven't. The social workers had to learn about child development. The teachers had to learn about family support. The health visitors had to learn about informal group dynamics, group relations. Everybody had something to learn. The paediatricians needed to learn about not talking in a particular kind of way and working where people were and helping parents to understand the decisions they were making. Everybody had to shift and change their professional practice. And you don't appoint people unless they're prepared to do that. We changed all the job descriptions, so nobody was called a teacher, nobody was called a social worker, nobody was called a nursery nurse. We muddled it all up. And people used to hunt the building trying to find the teacher, and they'd pick the most bossy member of staff, and it usually wasn't. It usually wasn't that person. And in a way, breaking down some of the barriers, nobody had desk space. We didn't have staff rooms for the first 17 years. Staff are entitled to staff space. And we made that decision. But in the first years, it was quite good that you had to hot desk. So you were always talking to the other professionals. You didn't have a little boxy office in a room. The worst thing in England is that with all the money we've been given under Sure Start, we've spent it very badly. And people have been allowed to get away with co-location, not integration. Training support for early years practitioners. We designed and devised and developed all our own training, because there's nobody from HE here, nobody from higher education or further education. In one of the meetings was a lovely university board person, and I was so glad she was there, and she was thinking about informal adult learning. If you sit in our family room for 37 hours a week, you could probably pick up 2 A-levels in our centre, because everything that moves can be accredited in England. So we have a national open college network, which is basic, the most basic level qualifications, national vocational qualifications, which is the next kind of level of qualifications. And we've written our own foundation degree, first degree for staff, which they can all do at the centre. We've got our own master's degree for senior staff who want to do it. We've got a parent who's come all the way through and got her master's. We've got, who's now employed by us. Out of the hunt, we had 6 staff for many years. The first 2 years, we built it up to 17, to 23. Most children's centres in England would be about 10, 15 staff minimum. And then lots and lots of professionals coming in and engaging with them in different ways. But we commission work from health, we commission work from speech and language therapy, we commission work from different people. Other people are lent to us on different kinds of contracts. But of the 140 staff we've got now, 28 years on, 46% were parents who came through that learning, training and development route. Research and development, every member of staff, a practitioner researcher. First piece of practitioner research, I was remembering it, it's a lovely health visitor. She was allowed to come and be, first of all, we used to have a health visitor who didn't really want the baby clinic to be in the Children and Family Centre. This was 1983. All Children and Family Centres now have baby clinics in them. But she was, the families used to call her a hunting, shooting, fishing health visitor, because we're surrounded by posh manor houses and estates, and they kind of felt that she'd come from one of those. And she was a lovely woman, Anne, and we introduced well woman clinics, and actually she did us. I had to be the first person to have a cervical smear in our centre, because nobody else knew what it was about or was willing to use it. And Anne was quite good at that. It was her personal passion, cervical cancer. And I remember having it, and the parents stuffed a great big stuffed dummy through the window, and I was laughing when I was having a cervical, so not the thing to do. But you had to, so we had well woman clinics, we had condoms in all the toilets, we had lots of lovely stuff, and And the baby clinic, Anne couldn't cope with running, but she was very good in the well clinic. And when Jill took it over, it revolutionised it. She brought in digital scales. She never weighed the babies. The parents weighed the babies themselves. She talked and engaged and listened to the families and worked in a completely different way. And the clinical nurse manager allowed her to have the caseload of the family centre. And at that time it was 300. Now we have 1,400 families, and so it would be more than one health visitor's caseload. So a parent comes in with, you know, a lot of our babies are prop fed and sweet bottled milk. So they come in really with fangs by the time they're about 18 months. And the parents daren't to take the children. We have the best dental clinic, and I really like the guy who runs it. It used to be, interesting, our building in the war was the health clinic. So people remember coming in for their war rations and their baby stuff. So, and the dentist who's there used to be there, and I brought him back in to see what it was. It's the drop-in now, the community drop-in. And I said, you need to run your dental clinic a bit more like our community drop-in, and then our parents will start coming. So what he did was he came and he started running sessions in the centre about health and dentistry and dental care. And people started using his clinic much more, because actually he's the best. It's amazing. But you've obviously got a lot of services around here. This is where all the shops are, actually, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So people are having to go here. But if you've got much money and you haven't got any transport, you're much less likely to come down here. Mm-hmm. My view was that of course civic pride means that you're going to want a great and glorious building, but it's going to be very important that the people who have got least feel that their needs and their voice is being heard. It's really important. I know in our building we had no money, and there were no rules in '83, so we had we had to go to furniture turnaround, which was the reject furniture, because the local authority had only given us children's chairs and things to sit on, and horrid adult chairs like you're sitting on, really. Although those are these more comfortable than the ones we had, which were plain plastic. But we wanted easy chairs and comfort chairs and chairs that an adult bum could sit on comfortably. And so we had old sofas and all of that. And now we wouldn't be allowed because of fire risk, and those ones are incredibly inflammable and dangerous noise. But so I think we lose something as we become more regulated sometimes. So we have drapes on them, which, you know, we have them we try and create a very homey, warm environment. So it isn't necessarily an edifice that people want, although architects love to design edifices. So a second home. So if it's too posh, they're going to feel like they can't come in.